Welcome back to the Sports Biz Report, Week 1, new edition, with your new host, myself, Mike Proska. And today we are gladly joined President of the SMTSU, Kevin Rossi. Kevin, nice to have you on today.
Turning the tables.
We are turning the tables. We've done this before, but not switching seats today.
Yep.
How do you like that?
It's different. We'll see how it goes.
It is very different, I agree. But I'm excited. Hope you are too. So first thing I want to talk about is the SMTSU has recently talked about their new conference, first annual conference, Sport for Social Change, coming this October. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Right. So the idea kind of started kind of below the surface between a few of us last year. We wanted to do something bigger and try to make our presence felt in the sports biz industry, even if it was just in the Philadelphia area, just start expanding. One of the common interests that we had was social issues, with some of us being interested in LGBT issues, some of us being interested in a wider array. But we kind of evolved this idea and brought it, to fruition, and now so we'll be holding it on October 25th. We have a couple confirmed speakers. Patrick Ruby, writer for Sports on Earth. He covers NCAA amateurism issues, any issue on that front, as well as player safety in the NFL with concussions. He's done a lot on head trauma. And then our second speaker will be Jim Britt, the vice president and COO of Ed Snyder Youth Hockey. He will be coming with a group from Ed Snyder Youth Hockey to talk about their journey into youth development via the sport of hockey and how students can get involved with that and start, making their mark as a resume booster for them, but then also, doing some good in the community. We have a few others lined up that we haven't officially announced yet, but it's shaping up to be a real good one-day event.
Definitely, that sounds great. And I'm really interested in the topic because when you really look at sport, it's sort of a microcosm of society in itself. So it's really interesting to delve into those topics.
Right. When you boil sport down to its core, that's really what it is it's trying to make a difference, and that we're going right at the heart of that.
It really is, and especially bringing in people in who do this for a living, and not only for our attendees to be able to hear them, but connect with them and meet them and establish relationships. It seems like it's going to be a really good day.
Right. And we're hoping to keep it a little more free-flowing so that people can kind of bounce ideas off of these industry professionals, people who have much greater experience than we do. But it should be an open forum kind of deal.
Definitely. It sounds very interesting. I suggest to all of our listeners to definitely attend. If not, find a way to establish or get a connection with someone who's attending. And
they'll be streaming available, and we'll be covering it pretty extensively on social media and the SMTSU blog.
There you go. And I'm sure we'll be hearing more about that in the weeks to come. So, going on from the conference, this year the SMTSU has some changes in its president and other roles, and also the establishment of an advisory board. Would you like to talk about that and what their role is in the new governance?
Sure. So Kevin Giordano had been our president since we started 2.5, 3 years ago. He was a co-founder and 3-year president. I had got involved right when I got on campus and worked my way up, understudy, treasurer, vice president, and with Kevin graduating after fall term, we thought it was a good time from a sustainability standpoint for him to step into an advisor role, which we'll get to, and then have me move up to president. And then to the advisory role, he'll be joining an advisory board as the senior advisor, and the advisory board will be comprised of him, our faculty advisor, Dr. Starowski, graduate advisor Patrick Gallagher, who is in his second year of the graduate program here at Drexel and works in the Drexel Athletic Department. And our industry advisor is Mike Mazzio, writer for ESPN New York. He was a sport management graduate here a few years back, and he was willing to help out with the group.
That's great. A lot of big names there. And for those of you who haven't known, Patrick actually started writing for our blog, The Sports Complex. I really highly suggest you check out his posts. They're very informative and very well written. Now, you said that you had been with the program for a while. You were understudy, treasurer, and vice president. Do you think that having all those backgrounds and those different positions will going to help you as president? You can sort of see everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Kevin has been a really great mentor for me. Not in the traditional, like, he's my boss, I'm going to do what he does and then follow him around kind of deal. More in he was a very strong student leader from, a relatively young age. He started it as a sophomore. And he kind of really showed me the way, whether he was trying to or not, on, how to lead a group of students, how to convey messages clearly, and that kind of deal. And that's really helped me. So as I moved up, I worked closer with him and then closer with the other officers, and really kind of was able to put what I was learning from him into practice, and apply it to everyday situations and, try to grow the group. So definitely moving up through the system that helped me greatly.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, especially with Kevin. I think it's going to be great to have him on as a member of the advisory board, just to be there just in case. And we all know him. We've all worked with him, and we all know how great he is. So that's definitely a good mix we got there. Thirdly, what do we have besides the conference, which is sort of our big pitch for the upcoming year? Are there anything else that we're working on or might be coming up within this year?
Right. So, it's going to be similar structure to how it's been. Every other week, general body meetings, one major event per term, continue the Sport Industry Ambassadors program the best we can. The biggest thing outside of obviously the conference being the largest event that we've ever held, the big thing going forward will be improving relationships with the faculty and also getting students involved and giving them kind of a stake in the group. I think that's very important. Instead of us just talking at them at meetings, having kind of a back and forth dialogue, because that will then get students to buy into what we're doing and make them feel part of it.
Yeah, both of those points are very interesting. To talk about your first one with getting the faculty more involved, I think that's sort of been overlooked because our faculty here they've been in the industry, they've done everything, they know people, they have connections. I think we've sort of taken that for granted a little bit, and building our relationship with them and getting them more involved is really going to help the union as we go forward. And then secondly, like you talked about, getting the students more involved. I mean, once you get in and once you're part of it, you don't realize how much you benefit from it. And that's where, we're going to have to work on. Once they get in, they're good, but now we got to get them in. And I think that's a good point you made with actually having them interact and actually have say in what we're doing is going to really help that.
Right. And like in the past, the officers have done a tremendous job getting stuff done, getting events together. And, this is all just out of wanting to be better. So I think if we're able to get students to help out with some of these tasks, the group can only move forward because it's more time that the officers have to then continue building.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very good point. So finally, I was a freshman last year, and I had the opportunity to join the student union and meet you guys and learn. What would be your advice for the incoming freshmen this year, not only about the union, but for school and for our program in general?
Right. Now, you were a freshman last year. I'm a junior, but I wasn't a freshman too long ago either. There's a few things. One is to see us as a resource, similar to how you would see your professors. Obviously, our like individually, our reach is not as wide as the professors, but a lot of us were hardworking in the industry for the most part, and we can really help out with connections and recommendations that way. I know I try to offer it as much as possible. I'll reach out to anybody that I've worked with in the industry, as long as I'm approached by a hardworking student.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to become an officer to start showing initiative with the SMTSU. If you come to meetings, act interested, throw out some good ideas, you can either work your way up from there if you would like, or you can keep staying at that level. But I don't want to pitch everything as a resume builder,
mm-hmm.
but just do something that you want to do, and most likely the SMTSU will have a way for you to get to that point. With that said, within the SMTSU, as I mentioned before, we're going to try a lot harder to get students involved working with the group, and a lot of that will begin with the conference. So we'll need volunteers and members to help out leading up to the event. Now we're about a month away, day less than a month. And then on event day, we're going to need a lot of help as well. And these are practical things that you can get experience with a major event. And yeah, you can put it on your resume, but yeah, it's going to be fun too, because you're working with people your age.
Not only that, you might have the opportunity to actually interact with our speakers and our guests, and you never know what can happen. Make a connection, send them an email, your resume later.
Absolutely.
Anything can happen there. And
off of that, just one quick kind of professional development thing. Definitely reach out. I would definitely reach out to the speakers as a student, and especially somebody who attended, and say, hey, thank you for your presentation. Really enjoyed it. Would love to stay in touch with you.
Mm-hmm.
It can be as simple as that. I know I've had some success reaching out to writers in the industry. I'm not going to name names with them, but people are willing to respond to those kind of things. And when you show initiative and reach out, especially when you have that mutual ground of the conference, they will appreciate that and they will help you out. I always say, it's one of the funniest things about sports is it's so hard to find a job and it's so competitive, but everybody in the industry is so willing to help out.
So willing to help.
You just need to ask.
Yeah, it really doesn't go overlooked. Simply a thank you and saying, can we stay in touch? It's not only that, you build that relationship to say, you email them a year later, you can talk about that, how you met, how you heard them speak, and that's that sort of groundbreaking,
Absolutely. So that's kind of it. When it all comes back to the SMTSU, that's kind of what I hope to do with the group, is kind of get as many people as possible into that situation where they can then make it what they want, per se.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think that about wraps it up for us. So, if you're interested in joining the SMTSU, we'll have more information. Come to our meeting next Thursday and follow our blog. Stay tuned. Reach out to any of the officers. And for Kevin, I'm Mike, and that is week 1 of the Sports Biz Report.